What I said was this.
Well, I just got a review, and has there ever been a worse host than Jimmy Kimmel at the Oscars? His opening was that of a less than average person trying too hard to be something which he is not and never can be. Get rid of Kimmel and perhaps replace him with another washed up but cheap ABC talent, George Slopanopoulos. He would make everybody on stage look bigger, stronger, and more glamorous. Blah, blah, blah. Make America great again. Okay, now, see if you can guess which former president just posted that on Tuesday. Anyone? No? Well, thank you, President Trump. Thank you for watching. I'm surprised you're still, isn't it past your jail time?
The entire room detonated with shock and laughter at the same time. Emma Stone, Bradley Cooper, and practically every major star seated in that packed theater stared at the stage like they had just witnessed something completely unexpected. In a single instant, Hollywood managed to turn Donald Trump's lifelong craving for the spotlight into the very thing that embarrassed him in front of the world. Here is how the moment unfolded. Jimmy Kimmel was halfway through his monologue at the legendary Academy Awards when producers quietly informed him backstage that Trump had just fired off an angry post on Truth Social, calling him the worst Oscars host in history. Their advice was simple and cautious. Ignore it. Do not acknowledge it. Do not give him the attention he wants. But Kimmel went in the exact opposite direction. Right there on live television, he pulled out his phone and calmly read the entire furious message, word for word, to millions of viewers across the globe. In that split second, the power dynamic flipped. A man who built his reputation on dominating the spotlight suddenly became the punchline of it. Kimmel turned the camera around and made Trump the star of his own joke, ending the bit with a brutal line asking whether it was not already past Trump's jail time. By the following morning, the media could not stop talking about it. Headlines from outlets like The Guardian and The Hollywood Reporter echoed the same story. The president watched the Oscars and got roasted live on stage by the host. And the wild part is that the story was only beginning because the very next night, Kimmel decided to push the moment even further.
We've had a hell of a couple of weeks, but I did get some exciting news this weekend. According to a new poll from YouGov, which is a serious polling site, or they were before this, I am more popular than the President of the United States. Thank you. Oh, thank you.
The crowd roared with laughter because the joke landed squarely on reality. Kimmel pointed out that his approval numbers were actually higher than those of Donald Trump, and the audience instantly understood why that comparison stung so much. The room filled with that loud kind of laughter that happens when a comedian says something everyone already knows but rarely hears said out loud. Then Jimmy Kimmel leaned into the moment and delivered the remark that quickly exploded across the internet and turned into the clip everyone shared.
The fact that I'm not a convicted felon friend of Jeffrey Epstein, and I've never paid off a porn star or sent a team of masked goons into a park to pull an old lady away from her grandchildren, I feel like my rating should be higher, maybe, than... At this point, finding a toenail in your salad has a 7-point lead over Donald Trump.
Kimmel compared the entire situation to discovering a toenail sitting in your salad, the kind of bizarre and uncomfortable image that hits your brain instantly and makes the joke impossible to forget. That sharp, precise style of mockery is exactly how a comedian turns someone's oversized ego into pure comedy gold. For someone like Donald Trump, whose public image is built around constant attention and dominance of the conversation, the joke was impossible to ignore, and predictably, he simply could not let the moment pass.
And I hope he doesn't see this. I hate to, I don't like to upset him, but I think he might be upset because the White House put out a statement this afternoon. This is a real statement. Over 77 million Americans showed up on Election Day to cast their ballots for President Donald J. Trump, who is delivering on his overwhelming mandate to put America first. Jimmy Kimmel prays every night to garner a fraction of that support to keep his show on air after ratings dropped 64% last week. Sad. I like sad with an exclamation point.
Things escalated to an almost unbelievable level. The White House itself released an official statement criticizing the ratings of a late-night comedy show. Just pause for a second and think about that reality. The President of the United States was so irritated by a comedian's joke that government staff members ended up drafting a press statement about television viewership numbers. While Jimmy Kimmel was busy roasting Donald Trump during the Academy Awards, another late-night host approached the situation from a completely different direction. Over on his own show, Stephen Colbert started digging into Trump's unusual fixation on constructing a massive ballroom at the presidential residence.
We're just 9 months into Trump's turn, and he's going Hulk smash on the White House. Last time, it took him at least 4 years to bring a demo crew to the Capitol. This is happening after Trump specifically promised his ballroom construction wouldn't touch the existing White House. Here he is talking about it this summer.
It won't interfere with the current building. It'll be near it, but not touching it, and pays total respect to the existing building, which I'm the biggest fan of. It's my favorite place. I love it.
So that was a lie.
Colbert did not rely on jokes alone because he came armed with evidence. Donald Trump had publicly promised that his ballroom construction project would not affect the historic structure of the White House at all. Yet, according to reports, heavy machinery had already been sent to tear away part of the East Wing. Colbert highlighted the contradiction with perfect comedic timing, explaining that just the previous day, a backhoe had been dispatched to rip a section directly off the East Wing as part of the ballroom plan.
Case in point, yesterday, as part of his White House ballroom project, he sent out a backhoe to rip off a chunk of the East Wing. That is it. We are not giving him the security deposit back.
The audience collapsed in laughter because that is where Stephen Colbert truly shines. He presents the situation in such an absurd way that people start laughing before the deeper implications even sink in. At first, it sounds ridiculous. Then suddenly, you realize how strange and unsettling the situation actually is. But this was also the moment when both Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel shifted their tone from pure comedy into something sharper and more pointed. Because while Donald Trump was fixated on television ratings and fancy ballroom projects, there was another issue quietly looming in the background that many people believed he was avoiding.
What else is sad? That the President of the United States has a lower approval rating than Diddy and diarrhea. That's what's sad. You know, if he's looking, I know he cares very deeply about this sort of thing. If he's looking to improve his approval numbers, I have an idea. Release the Epstein files.
When the topic surfaced, the audience burst into loud applause and laughter again, because it was the same question people everywhere had been asking. Why would Donald Trump refuse to release the files connected to Jeffrey Epstein? The question had been circulating across media and politics for months, and according to Kimmel, the answer was hiding in plain sight.
The majority say they want to see the Epstein files. 77% of Americans want the Epstein files released, but 100% of our American president does not want them released. Trump's treating these Epstein files like the grumpy old neighbor on Halloween. He turns off all the lights and just hopes the trick-or-treaters will assume there's nobody home. He's like, do you people not understand what a wonderful secret means?
That was when Jimmy Kimmel explained what he believed was Trump's go-to strategy whenever pressure started building. Instead of addressing uncomfortable questions directly, he would flood the conversation with distractions and dramatic side stories, so the spotlight moved somewhere else entirely.
Why are we building a $200 million ballroom in the White House? Is it possible that he's doing it intentionally so we could be mad about that instead of the Epstein list? By the time he's out of office...
The remark landed with a different weight this time, because suddenly the obsession with building a giant ballroom seemed less random and more strategic. If the media spent days arguing about architecture and renovations at the White House, they were not spending those same days digging into the files connected to Jeffrey Epstein. The shiny distraction theory began to make sense,
and Stephen Colbert quickly piled on with his own commentary.
At this point, should we even believe that this is going to end up being a ballroom? It could just as easily end up being a combination Pizza Hut Taco Bell. Now, someone in his administration is clearly smart enough to know how bad this looks, because the Treasury Department is right next door facing the demolition, and Treasury has now told their employees not to share any photos of the construction. Not generally something you instruct when you're proud of what's going on. Hey guys, remember, no photos at my wedding, and it's not because I'm marrying a body pillow of Mariah Carey.
But the most jaw-dropping moment arrived when Jimmy Kimmel played a clip of Donald Trump responding to a question about Ghislaine Maxwell, the associate of Jeffrey Epstein, who had been convicted for her role in the trafficking operation.
Caitlin Collins from CNN asked Trump whether he plans to pardon Epstein's right-hand woman, Ghislaine Maxwell, and whereas he's usually, very quick to weigh in bigly on this type of thing, for this one, suddenly even-tempered and even deferential.
The Supreme Court is back in session. They rejected today an appeal by Ghislaine Maxwell to overturn her conviction. That means her only chance at getting out of prison is a pardon from you. Is that something you're open to doing?
Who are we talking about?
Ghislaine Maxwell.
I haven't heard the name in so long. I can say this, that I'd have to take a look at it. I'll look at it. I have a lot of people who have asked me for pardons. I call him Puff Daddy has asked me for a pardon.
But she was convicted of child sex trafficking.
Yeah, I'm going to have to take a look at it. I have to ask DOJ.
Oh, yeah. Ask DOJ and get back to it.
According to the clip, Trump seemed to have an answer ready for nearly every political topic imaginable. Yet, when the conversation turned to Ghislaine Maxwell, he suddenly acted as if he could not even recall her name, the same woman who had been convicted for assisting Jeffrey Epstein in child trafficking. When reporters reminded him, Trump responded that he would need to consult the U.S. Department of Justice, which critics quickly noted was currently overseen by officials closely connected to him. At the same time, Stephen Colbert was confronting a separate drama after Trump reportedly pushed for ABC to cancel Kimmel's show. Instead of backing down, Colbert treated the entire situation as fresh comedic ammunition.
Wonderful news for my dear friend Jimmy and his amazing staff. They continue the show. That's right. I'm so happy for them. Plus, now that Jimmy's not being canceled, I get to enjoy this again. Yeah. Oh. Once more, I am the only martyr in late nights. Wait, unless CBS, you want to announce anything?
The crowd laughed loudly, but underneath the humor, Stephen Colbert was delivering a serious observation. Trump's attempts to pressure networks over jokes were not just heavy-handed, they also made him appear strangely thin-skinned. Then, Colbert revealed a twist that surprised nearly everyone watching.
So Disney put Kimmel back on because you, the American people, were upset, okay? But not just people, also Ted Cruz. It's true. Cruz was one of the conservatives who were outraged by the administration's attack on free speech.
He threatens explicitly, we're going to cancel ABC's license. We're going to take him off the air so ABC cannot broadcast anymore. He threatens it. He says, we can do this the easy way, but we can do this the hard way.
Yeah.
And I got to say, that's right out of Goodfellas. That's right out of a mafioso coming into a bar going, nice bar you have here. It'd be a shame if something happened to it.
Even Ted Cruz ended up defending Jimmy Kimmel, arguing that threatening a comedian crossed a line that should worry people regardless of political party. When Kimmel later appeared as a guest on Colbert's show, he shared a remark that sliced through the entire controversy and captured the bigger meaning behind all the jokes.
Did you ever think the President of the United States would be celebrating your unemployment?
I mean, that son of a is really unbelievable.
Mr. Son of a
I mean,
Mr. Son of a
His loyal. Yes, yeah, no, I never imagined that we'd ever have a president like this, and I hope we don't ever have another president like this again. I never even imagined there would ever be a situation in which the president of our country was celebrating hundreds of Americans losing their jobs. With somebody who took pleasure in that. That to me is the absolute opposite of what a leader of this country is supposed to be.
Meanwhile, through all the criticism and mockery, Donald Trump kept returning to the same subject again and again: the ballroom. According to him, it was going to be beautiful, historic, and unlike anything the country had ever seen.
When I heard it, I was in the midst of, building a great, for 150 years, they've wanted a ballroom at the White House, right? They don't have a ballroom. They have to use tents on the lawn for President Xi when he comes over. If it rains, it's a wipeout. And so I was with the architects that would design. It's going to be incredible.
Yesterday, at the White House, Trump talked about his wrecking ballroom. And the one thing I don't think we make enough fun of is how his brain is filled with cotton candy fantasies of lavish princely soirees.
So you'll have drinks, cocktails, everything on this floor. And then they'll say, welcome to dinner. You walk into the ballroom, Mr. Senators, and you're going to see a ballroom the likes of which I don't think it'll be topped.
There'll be drinks, cocktails. Like this, drinks and cocktails.
Stephen Colbert summed it up perfectly by joking that Trump's imagination seemed packed with sugary fantasy visions while the public kept demanding answers about Jeffrey Epstein. In the end, what Jimmy Kimmel and Colbert managed to accomplish was something political opponents rarely achieve. They simply used Trump's own words, his own social media posts, and the strange obsessions he openly shared, then reflected them back on live television for everyone to see. Kimmel read the angry messages during the Academy Awards, while Colbert broke down the contradictions behind the ballroom project, and together they demonstrated a timeless truth that satire often reveals better than speeches: the emperor has no clothes. Just a Truth Social account and a demolition crew. And if you think comedy has become the last place where blunt honesty still survives on television, make sure you subscribe.